Hello, everybody. So good to be with you again. And today we want to talk specifically about DeQuavain's syndrome or DeQuavain's Tenosynovitis. I've seen some of you at the store needing a thumb guard because you have tremendous pain in these tendons here, okay? And I want to speak about specifically how to use Vantelin Gel to try to alleviate this problem, and also how to rehabilitate those tendons in a way that may be new to us. So to use Vantelin Gel, if you haven't already got one of these, please come and get this from me. So it looks like this. It's a very strong non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug called diclofenac sodium. And what you can do is you can apply a few drops on your fingers. And here's how you're going to do it. So we know, I wish my lighting was better, but I'm a very poor cameraman. We know that you have the abductor pollicis longus and the extensor pollicis brevis. Okay, so how do I show this? So abductor pollicis longus and extensor pollicis brevis, but normally we're only treating this portion. What you want to do is to use the gel, put a drop on your fingers of your other hand and apply not only to that area but rub it all the way to the ulna. So we know that the abductor pollicis longus attaches itself, or originates actually, from the first and second third of the ulna, and then also the part of the radius and the interosseous membrane between the ulna and the radius, and they join together as a muscle and becomes a tendon here. Right, so this does this. It helps to extend. This tendon attaches to the metacarpal, the base of the first metacarpal, okay, and does this to the thumb. This tendon, the extensor pollicis brevis, attaches to the distal radius, okay? So this attaches to the distal radius and does this. It attaches to the metacarpo-phalangeal joint, or rather the right here, as you can see, and it does this extension. So metacarpo-phalangeal joint right here, and it extends the thumb. So you want to rub the gel all the way to the middle of your forearm behind. We say behind because this is the anatomical position. So this is the dorsal part. So you want to rub the gel all the way here. Okay? Rub the gel all the way there. Why? Because although we normally treat the area of pain, if the muscle is tight further along, then what's going to happen is that that tight muscle can be pulling these tendons too much, so that when you go even to a neutral position, it is too tight and it overstretches those tendons that we mentioned. So you do want to rub the gel there using some force. Now, if it is already irritated, because that's what normally an inflammation of these tendons is, it's an inflammation. So if it's already irritated, just be a little bit cautious how much pressure you put, but do rub it with some amount of force. Now, here's the new thing that you might never have seen, and that is, if you notice, we've been talking for a few videos already with regards to strengthening our muscles in the long position. Now, again, to clarify, we're not splitting hairs here. by calling what people would call stretching, strengthening in the long position, because it is not the same as stretching. In stretching, whether you are talking about isolated stretching, active stretching, forced relaxation, whatever it may be, even PNF, this is not PNF, because in PNF, the idea is that when you put yourself in that stretch position and you resist the push with your fingers, trying to extend your fingers, in this case specifically the thumb, then what happens is that at the end, when your extensor and abductor muscles of the thumb are fatigued, you relax them and allow your other hand to push further. That's what PNF is. But we don't do that. We don't push further at all. And we don't push necessarily to fatigue. What we want to do is we want to put the thumb in its longest position. And I deliberately avoid using the word in the stretched position, because we don't really want to perform stretching here, which is mostly passive. What we want to do is put it in a long position and resist by trying to extend our thumb, which we're trying to push our thumb this way, but we are pushing with your other hand against the thumb, even on the metacarpal as well as on the first phalanx. So we want to push up, but we're not trying to fatigue the muscle and then push further. We're not trying to push further. We want to strengthen it in this position. If possible, you want to go through the full range of motion from the longest position to the shortest position. So you're going to push, provide resistance with your other hand, and push like that. Okay? Push like that. Like that. Now, this may not be something you have seen before, but this is how you train any muscle, even in the long position, and in this case the full range of motion. You want to provide resistance. Notice my thumb is actually pressing up, and my other hand, my right hand, is actually pushing the thumb all the way down. Now the reason you want to do this is that when your muscles, your extensor pollicis brevis and your abductor pollicis longus are stronger, when they are stronger in the longest position, they will gain flexibility in that area. Not because of PNF, not because you pushed it further. We don't push further after it is fatigued. We're just trying to train it in the full range of motion so that when it is strong, when those muscles are strong in the longest range, the body senses that the muscles are safe. Hence, it increases flexibility because of that feeling of safety. If your muscles have a feeling of safety, they will naturally be able to go into those positions because they feel that they're not so easily torn, not so easily injured. This works for every muscle in the body. Okay? So again, now I'm using my right hand. You have the abductor pollicis longus and the extensor pollicis brevis. Okay? You put the thumb in the longest position and you're pushing up this way. You're pushing up this way. But if you have to do it statically, you put it in the longest position and you just push up isometrically for 15-20 seconds and then relax. We do not push further when it is relaxed. We don't want the body to go into a weak position. We want to strengthen it in the longest position so that its usual weak position will get stronger with time and with training. So you push up, you hold it there for 15-20 seconds, you relax, you push again, 15-20 seconds. So the hand is pushing this way, the thumb is pushing that way in the opposite direction. The hand is trying to go up in an extended manner, back to neutral and further up. So the thumb is trying to push this way. Okay? But my left hand is trying to push it down. If you can do the full range of motion, you do this. So left hand is providing resistance, the thumb is pushing up as much as possible, and then down in the strength position. Now, the aim is not to push the thumb down as much as possible, because that would create weakness or the stretch that we don't want to. We want that those muscles, the extensor pollicis brevis and the abductor pollicis longus, to feel stronger, to become stronger in the longest position, what people would call the most stretched position. But I avoid using the word stretch because we are actually in the longest position. We are not trying to stretch that muscle, we're trying to strengthen it, either isometrically or in this case dynamically, as you can see. Okay, so you do that. If you can, whether you're doing it isometrically or you're doing it dynamically, do it for 10 to 15 repetitions. If it's isometric, each repetition is a 10 to 15 second, or rather a 15 to 20 second hold eventually. If at the beginning you can only do 10 to 15 seconds, then so be it. But you do this exercise for 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions. So each repetition, if it is isometric, is a 15 to 20 second hold, push up with the thumb against the other hand, or a 10 to 15 second hold, push, if you cannot perform 15 seconds and up. And you do that for 10 to 15 times. Okay, you rest and then you perform another 2 sets of the same. If you're doing full range of motion, there's no isometric hold, you're just moving. Okay, you're just moving for 10 to 15 repetitions. You rest for a minute and you do it again for a second, rest a minute, you do it for a third set. So I hope that is going to be helpful for you. You can try that, because if you strengthen your muscles of your extensor pollicis brevis and your abductor pollicis longus, they are less likely to be in pain when they are in that long position naturally. Okay, when you do that test, okay, it's less likely going to be painful in that area of the base of the thumb. So more about this method of strengthening in the long position on other muscles in upcoming videos. I hope I remember to do them, because I've had so many things on my schedule and work has been so busy. But before you do all these strengthening exercises, apply Vantelin Gel to reduce inflammation in that area, so the body actually has a chance to heal itself. Once again, I hope to see you at the store. Buy some tubes of Vantelin Gel from me, apply it to the base of your thumb, and at the same time perform these strengthening exercises in the full range of motion, in particular in the longest range of that muscle. Thank you very much. I hope you benefited from this, and I'll see you soon.